For the town of Malabar Code of Conduct, section 227, paragraph 3, quote, I will demonstrate dignity, respect, and courtesy toward those whom I am in contact with in my capacity as a member of the town council. End quote. You three have a long and visible history of showing shameful indifference to the speakers, and this must stop. The very fact that I have to say these words to you speaks volumes. The people of the town of Malabar have seen a steady deterioration by certain members of the council, town employees, of adherence to the oath of office, charter, code of ordinances, and of accuracy in documentation of town matters, including altering information or intent in agendas and minutes presented to the town by the citizens. This must stop. Our system of government offers checks and balances, and I'm putting certain town council members on notice that this is a wake-up call to clean up your actions. I request that you tell me the process by which we can get the podium statements that are handed to the clerk back in the meeting minutes where they justly belong. Yes. Let the record show no input from council. 3 of the council members, Horn, Rivet, and White, violated the town charter and code of ordinances by passing the recent zoning change with blatant disregard for its rules. The Code of Conduct in Chapter 2, Code of Ordinances, Article 2, Section 227, paragraph C states, and I quote, I will represent the interests of the entire town when making decisions and will rely upon available facts, end quote, which you clearly did not do. Same section, paragraph Q states, quote, I understand that my first priority as a council member will always be to look out for the best interests of the citizens of the town and the public health, safety, and welfare, end quote, which again you did not do specifically. Next slide, please. You ignored the fact that the parceling question could not meet the 2 most clear and basic scientific requirements for receiving parcel. Parceling question is negated by setback definition and was in reality dead on arrival. You were given those facts, all of which and more were given to you by the townspeople and repeated so eloquently and accurately by the mayor in his veto. What manner of logic are you using when you 3 act as if those basic requirements don't even exist? In the interest of transparency, you owe the citizens a precise answer to this question, this very important question. I have asked you 3 for this information, and you refuse to provide it. I must then conclude that A, you do not have a valid reason, and made the decision for a non-valid reason. B, you do not care what the ordinances say. Or C, you've been paid off to make such an invalid decision. Now is the appropriate moment for you 3 to respond to this request.
I think I just spent several minutes responding to that, didn't I?
That's an agenda, yes.
That's it. All right.
You've contaminated the future of coastal preserve by opening the door for future commercial general rezoning via this precedent. You on council who have attempted to downplay this recipe for disaster are kidding yourselves if you do not see the consequences of your action. Else you have abandoned the intent of coastal preserve. You have abandoned your constituents. You've lowered yourself to the influence peddlers. You've abandoned your oath of office to defend our town by willfully ignoring ordinances. Councilmember Horn, your demeanor, as I witnessed multiple times in the past, has been bullying and reprehensible. But when you batter my wife, you've gone too far. That mischief was actionable. You made a mockery of the code of conduct by abusing and battering a resident to wit. Conduct section B, quote, I will demonstrate dignity, respect, and courtesy towards those to whom I am in contact. I will refrain from intimidation and ridicule of the citizens of the town. In my capacity as a member of the town council, I will refrain from inappropriate language, including statements that are malicious, threatening, disparaging, mean-spirited, vulgar, or abusive. All disagreements, concerns, or criticism shall be framed in language that is in keeping with the dignity and professionalism of an elected official and the honor of the town council. And lastly, I will be accountable to the town council for violations of this code of conduct. Next slide, please. I request that the town council exercise both the first and second violation steps in the penalty section of the code of conduct, to wit, A public hearing of the charges, and B, written charges filed with the town clerk for each and resulting in censure. You, Dick Horn, deserve to be expelled from council immediately and permanently. I hereby formally inform against you that you violated the state misdemeanor of Florida Statutes, Title 46, Chapter 784, Section 784.03, a battery, and made felony by Section 784.08, 2C. This should result in your removal from office by law. Mr. Corn, Mr. Ribbon, Mr. White, you three serve at the pleasure and trust of the citizens of the town of Malabar. You have betrayed that trust. For your collective actions, none of the three of you deserve to remain on council. I insist that these 3 pages go into the minutes.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to action items, ordinance of the first reading, ordinance 2019-14, budget amendment for fiscal year 18/19. Please read by title only. All right, an ordinance of the town of Malabar, Brevard County, Florida, pertaining, excuse me, we still have a meeting going on. An ordinance of the town of Malabar, Brevard County, Florida, pertaining to a budget amendment in the fiscal year 2018-2019 to provide, excuse me.
Let's just wait.
I'll read it now.
Bring that down a little more respect.
Thank you.
Start over.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2019-14 budget amendment to fiscal year 18-19 first reading. An ordinance of the town of Malabar, Brevard County, Florida, pertaining to a budget amendment in the fiscal year 2018-19, provide for additional revenues received, providing for the unspent budgeted funds due to reduced expenditures, providing direction to delegate such excess funds into designated restricted reserves for building department use, stormwater use, fire department donations, and for vehicle replacement, providing the shifting of unspent money between departments to balance the expenditures, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ball?
Aye.
Councilmember Bale?
Aye.
Councilmember Ribbit?
Aye.
Councilmember Corn?
Aye.
Councilmember White?
Aye.
Motion carried, 5-0. All right, move on to ordinance 2019-15, amending Article 9 of Chapter 2 Code of Ordinances. This is the first reading. I have one card. Laura Mahoney.
Laura Mahoney, 2475 Malvern Road. I just have some questions. for the changes, why, I'd like to know benefits and costs, like are the benefits, specifically, why are we doing this?
We'll get to it in discussion.
Okay, and then, well, I made two copies, but I ran out of toner, so I didn't have enough to send you all of it. So I thought, why, what are the benefits to the residents and to Matt? And then the cost of financial, what are the attorney fees and the cost of the ordinance? And the responsibilities, increased responsibilities or decreased responsibilities, and the cost for or from the residents, flexibility, residents' needs, or action items, and availability.
Okay, thank you.
Do you need a copy of these? Or?
Okay. Is that the only one?
Yes. I'll entertain a motion.
Well, I gotta read it. I haven't read it. I kind of
Oh, I'm sorry.
An ordinance of the Town of Malabar, Brevard County, Florida, amending Chapter 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the town, amending the title for the town administrator in Article 9, providing for repeal, providing for severability, providing for incorporation into the Code of Ordinances, providing for an effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion?
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is a change in title only. I think the new title is probably a better representation of what the responsibilities of the office are. There's no financial impact.
Go ahead, Brian.
Pretty much the job is going to be the same regardless of the title. Whichever title you want to put to it. There's fewer town administrators than there are town managers on a level of which he goes to meetings and the common terminology is manager amongst for Matt's position, Matt's profession. We've always stuck with administrator. Grant Buck area stuck with administrator because they took a lot of our codes and adopted them. But in discussion with staff, any document that has the words town administrator would have to be edited to reflect town manager. And if it doesn't make any difference in the job of which he's doing, which it pretty much doesn't, I don't see the need to change it for fear of potentially hitting some kind of hiccup on a technicality for one word. I don't think it's worth it.
Grant, then Go Dick.
Oh, okay. I don't have, I'm looking here, and if I have it, I don't know where it is. The ordinance that established that office. And the duties that are described in there are management duties. That's one reason. I did some checking at the League of Cities Convention and asking around. Out of the 412 municipalities, some don't have an equivalent to a town manager, town administrator, but there are only 11 other municipalities that use the title town administrator. We understand the difference. He answers to the council. The council is the strength of the government of the town. But there are two advantages to it, to changing it to manager. Number one, the next time we go to have to fill the position, it's a much more attractive looking position to candidates. Number two, if our current manager or administrator were to have to move to another position, having had that title gives him a better, him, her, whoever it is, a leg up. But the duties that are in the ordinance that establishes are management duties, to hire, to fire, and to set budgets. It's a total management description, and that's why we're just getting in line with what most communities do.
Any other discussion? Grant.
Yeah, I don't have a problem one way or the other with it. I was in the Coast Guard and I managed the space security area, and they called me an administrator. Later, when I left, the person that took over for me didn't like that term, and he had them call him the manager. So, to me, the job's the same and it doesn't really matter. I hadn't thought of it. However, Vale brought up a good point. What are the unintended consequences of changing a word going back? It's kind of like they changed the address on your street. Oh crap, look at that. Now all your post office, everything, all your mail is changed, so I don't know. So
They changed the number on our house for,
yeah, for that maybe I'd say, yeah, it might not be worth the squeeze. So,
Any
it
other
gives us a
discussion?
leg up on other communities in the hiring process, so.
It is a more
can you speak to that, my problem?
All right, any other discussion?
Yeah, I'm asking for
Yeah,
response.
I don't know if Danny's got anything, but
Oh, no, go ahead, Matt. Or town administrator.
yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's for the educated people that I work with on a regular basis, other city managers, administrators, they understand the terminologies and know that our job duties are quite similar, and if not exactly the same. So, I mean, my job's not going to change, but it does help occasionally when I run into someone that doesn't know what a town administrator is. Usually my reply to that is city manager, and then they're like, oh, okay, but that's what it's going to change for me.
You just be a fire administrator.
My question to Debbie would be then, how much editing would have to take place here, do you think, on that?
I believe that it was addressed. If it wasn't, it will be in the next packet for sure. I was kind of focused on budget for this one. There will be a statement in chapter 2, as I presented in this ordinance, which I created, the attorney didn't create, and he reviewed. Every time administrator is used, it's replaced by manager. And then there's a general statement that throughout the code, where you see the word administrator, it shall mean manager. So there is not going to be an extensive page for page requirement. And the legal ad costs about $63, so it's nominal.
And changing the decal on the doors about it.
Well, the decal on the door was misspelled for 18 years. I don't think it's going to mandate a...
Okay, so we don't have to do that right away.
Yeah, we can hold on.
Well, I have no problem with this.
Any other discussion? All right, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ball,
Aye.
Councilmember Vale,
Aye.
Councilmember Rivet,
Aye.
Councilmember Corn, Councilmember White.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0 on first reading.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, town manager.
All right, we'll move on to miscellaneous, the approval of the interlocal agreement with Brevard County for the E911 dispatch services.
I move for approval.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to point out, and I don't mean any harm by this, but we continue to call the Malabar Fire Department, the Malabar Volunteer Fire Department. Is that necessarily a good description of our fire department?
The volunteers there.
It's Malabar Fire Rescue, the official name.
Right, but in this it is called...
I am with you on that. I think that the citizens of Malabar need to understand that this is a complicated
It's a hybrid.
department. It's a hybrid. It's a paid fire department, and we use some volunteers. So I think the word volunteer fire department is very misleading.
I'd like to take the volunteer out of it.
I'm gonna let Debbie speak.
Are you referring to page 3 of the agreement,
I
the
think so.
signatory?
This is where I read
That's the
into
only
it.
page that we had requested to be changed, page 3 of the agreement, because it did say Malabar Volunteer Fire Department, and we had them change it to Malabar Fire Rescue.
Okay.
And if that didn't make it, that's on me, I apologize.
All right.
The change was made.
Yeah, it was on page 2, section 3, services provided. They call it the Malabar Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay, then there might have been 2 places I should have
I think
asked
we're
them to
past
change
that
it.
point.
Yeah.
So,
So we are all in agreement that it's the,
Malabar
Malabar
Fire
Fire Rescue.
okay, thank you.
This has come up in the past.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll just keep focusing.
This was called break that.
Technically, it's a combination
They do a lot of
department,
rescue compared to the number
So
of
Debbie, you'll change those
Yes,
words?
yes.
Okay.
but
All right, any other discussion? All right, we'll do, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carried 5-0. All right, our last item will be the cancellation of the council meeting for October 21st, 2019. There's a lot of people aren't going to be here, and I don't think there's anything pressing, and Debbie requested that
Yeah, there's nothing pending, there's nothing that will be held up if we cancel the second meeting. And the items that will be coming before you, the Huggins Park rezoning and perhaps the Twin Lakes subdivision would be for the November 4th meeting. And of course, these 2 ordinances that we just first reading.
further discussion. All right. We'll entertain a motion to cancel October 21.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Okay, motion carried 5-0. All right, move on to reports. Brian, you got anything?
I have nothing at this time.
All right, Brian, Steve?
The other Brian.
Ben?
Yeah. Right, leave whoever you are.
Grant?
Yeah, for the town administrator, I work through, I don't know if anybody's known, a lot of people know I live on US 1, and I'm halfway between Malabar Road and the Yellow Dog. And I have gone to the extra trouble to trim all of the trees and keep that area nice so it is a view of the waterfront. And with what happened tonight, and this is not going to become commercial, I would like to see us press nearly all of that property, including the property that I just cleared, belongs to the state of Florida. And I think we ought to somehow put the pressure on the state of Florida to clean that land. Some pieces of property are owned, I understand that, because I own some, but the ones that are owned by the state of Florida, because that, I'll tell you what, I've been here when it was cleared. I was here again, when they put the road in. I was here when it was cleared after the hurricane, when the hurricane cleared it for us. And the state went through and cleared it, and it is a beautiful view. And, that's one of the things that we need to have in the town is keep that beautiful view.
Okay. And in regard to that, I'd have to get the history from Debbie, she was here. When the Brontosaurus, when Browns came in and mowed all that, was that at a cost to the town at the time?
Yes, the town paid that.
Okay. And then I know that we have to be careful using herbicides along the river, and we also have to keep some vegetation for soil to stabilize the soil. Is there any long-term program of which, other than mowing it when you can't see anymore, which seems to be what we're doing now, is there some kind of maintenance program that we could interact with the state, DOT, whatever it happens to be, to get this on a cycle so we don't have these roller coasters of events and have a maintainable bank view, so on and so forth? Come up with some sort of agreement to keep this an ongoing thing.
It would be nice. The only thing that I've noticed and what I try to do there is a living system down there. There's bunny rabbits, there's other things. And when I did my clearing and cutting and pruning of the trees, I left the stuff down there so those habitats were intact. So you just take down the big pepper trees, which we need to get rid of anyway, and some of the other big things, and get rid of those, and then leave the rest for the ecosystem that's already in place down there.
And I think maybe our new manager could check into that.
Grant, I haven't been down there in a couple of weeks because I've been traveling from the west, from the interstate in. But I remember there was a section that had grown back up again, a lot of trees, a lot of pepper trees too, that are back.
Oh, well, if you look, there's some sections, like I've worked hard to keep ours clear.
Yeah.
And it's a selfish reason. I look out of my house, I want to see the roof, okay? So it's and I clean my neighbors on both sides, I did.
Okay, what I'm saying is, I remember several years ago when the town did clear that all right down. I'm wondering, could we ask the state?
Well, that's what I'm
maintain it
asking.
that way?
I'm asking him to look in. There's no reason that land, most of that land, we just always discussing on this, and there's 90 parcels that are owned. Yes, there are, and I own some of those. But most of that land where it's very native, the state took all of it, and they left the owners on the other side of the street the riparian rights to it. So that's how you can get a permit to build a dock. That's because the state's letting you maintain that property. But it would be nice if they would come in and clear out their pepper trees. And I don't know if we can, that's what I'm saying, I don't know if we can coerce them into that without having to take it out of our town budget.
I thought about that after the last meeting we had. I went down there the next day, and it looked like it needed to be.
Go ahead.
Gary Dotson, who used to run with the Bluegrass books on Marie Street, he was part of the group that did pepper busting all along US 1. So if anybody knows anybody in the Bluegrass community, I don't personally, but I was thinking maybe they could give you information now, because it was a bunch of volunteers that actually cleared up the pepper trees on US 1.
Yeah, Gary passed away.
I know. He's almost sort of a relative, but...
Maybe like Peace Corps kind of stuff, or...
All right, yes. No, you need to come up to the podium.
The Marine Resource Council will help you with that, and they will help you with getting rid of non-native plant materials. And I think they're an excellent choice here, because they wouldn't charge you. It could be a workshop type thing, and just go through and cut out pepper trees, and cut out things that should not be.
Thank you. All right, Dan? That was good.
It's been fun for 6 years.
Okay. All right, I don't have, go ahead, Liz.
Sorry, I attended a meeting at the zoo, and there's a Restore Our Shores, that they work with the Bar Zoo, and they've assessed and have a camel because we keep ours clear, and they are in the midst of planting, there goes my mind.
Sea breaks.
Yeah.
Oyster beds?
Sea breaks or sea grass? Grass,
Atlas grass.
no,
Appropriate plants.
the plants.
Appropriate.
The propagules, anyway, but they do an assessment. Mangrove, thank you very much. They're doing mangroves, oyster bags, that type of thing. So I could try to connect somebody if we could get some people going to, I talked to them about it before. This Restore Our Shores, Brevard County is working with the zoo on.
So, anything else? Okay, I don't have anything, so without objection, meeting adjourned.
Don't grow on the side of the river.
They're freshwater.
They're on the other side of the river.
District 2, Scott, the mayor is up there.
along there, out there, Sebastian. And they do have a little standard mango trip. That's, you're right, that's the only place I've ever seen them.
The seeds are there. They foster their but there are other, there's grass right now.
Legislation on the mango.
I never was.